This is Cult Film Face Off.
Hello and welcome to episode 61 of Cult Film Face Off. My name is Chet Rovis. With me as usual is Nick Leonard.
I said on my ass, not in my ass, you homo!
This episode we're going to be looking at two subversions of the vampire mythos. We're going to be looking at the Fearless Vampire Killers, aka Dance of the Vampires, aka Pardon Me But Your Teeth Are in My Neck from 1967, versus Nosferatu, aka Nosferatu the Vampire from 1979. Thank you very much to L Driver on Twitter for this episode suggestion. Fun fact, this is the first ever episode suggestion that we received well over 2 years ago. I don't know.
Shut the front door!
Yeah, I don't know why it's taken us so long. We're terribly lame, so apologies for that. But we did get there in the end. But yeah, let's start off then with the first film to be released in 1967, The Fearless Vampire Killers, also known as Dance of the Vampires, or Pardon Me But Your Teeth Are in My Neck. Directed by Roman Polanski. During a perilous search for a damsel who at least appears to be in some distress, a scatty vampire-hunting professor and his faithful sidekick accept a mysterious count's invitation to a gothic castle in the desolate outskirts of Transylvania. The Fearless Vampire Killers, also known as Dance of the Vampires, or Pardon Me But Your Teeth Are in My Neck.
Who says vampires are no laughing matter? They certainly are. The Fearless Vampire Killers, or Pardon Me, But Your Teeth Are in My Neck.
Okay, so Fearless Vampire Killers from 1967, aka all those titles that I've said multiple times. Had you seen this before?
Never seen it before, I'd heard of it, but never seen it.
Okay, so you went in completely blind, as did I. How did you find it?
Directed by Roman Polanski, starring Roman Polanski. The opening titles, the animated opening titles were done really nicely.
Slick, yeah.
Let's start with the positives. I found this hard work. Unsubtle, theatrical, physical comedy, quirky characters, sight gags, all of which hit wide of the mark.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about it. It looked pretty nice. I mean, fuck. A lot of money had been thrown at it. The fairy tale snow cap sets looked pretty good.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I was bored.
I wasn't bored, and I actually don't think it was hard work. I thought it was actually a very easy watch. It's pre-70s, so it's everyone enunciates perfectly, everyone speaks clearly. It's a
very theatrical.
It's very easy to follow as well. I think it's quite. I wasn't expecting a film that I think if anybody who happened upon it today could follow it, and I wasn't really expecting that. I think somebody seeing it today, enjoying it, I wasn't expecting that to be likely. But
Did you enjoy it?
I don't think I did. I thought it's a strange film in that. First of all, Polanski at that time was kind of renowned for being a master of suspense. He was a burgeoning talent. Everyone thought he made very suspenseful films. There's no suspense in it, and it isn't funny.
It's not got scares. It's not got gags.
The comedy's very odd because it's as if Polanski kind of liked the idea about having things like pratfalls in the film, but not even addressing them as pratfalls or even filming them like it's comedy that's not really. They're not acknowledged as being funny. For example, there's one scene where the professor, who's the best in the film...
There is one gag, sorry, I just have to remember.
Okay.
I'll segue to that in a minute, but there is one thing that really did make me laugh.
Okay, all right, well, there's a scene where he gets stuck in a window, and it's not mine for laughs, it's just a thing that's happened. There's a guy stuck in a window. I'm like, that's not just funny because he's stuck in a window. That and I think that attitude of kind of filming things that are sort of on the surface comedic and not treating them like comedy... It's weird. It's weird like that. What was this gag that you remembered?
Oh, so it was a sight gag where I can't remember now because it's been quite a while since I watched the film. If it was the innkeeper, but someone is frozen into a position outside, and they carry him in, and it's a great bit of acting because he's genuinely all of his limbs are contorted, frozen, and they try and carry him back into the inn.
I remember that. Yeah, right.
Polanski is trying to make an art house horror comedy. It doesn't work because the elements don't fuse together cohesively. It's not funny. The horror elements don't fizz, and there is no sense of danger for the two hapless leads, and it feels too hammy to be arty.
I think it's quite a well-told story, but Kim Newman, the British film critic who specialises in horror films, he's a really big fan, but he has an encyclopedic knowledge of Hammer horror films, and I don't. And
I love Hammer horror films. I mean, it kind of because it was clearly inspired by Brides of Dracula and Kiss of the Vampire. I think Brides is definitely a Hammer horror film,
right?
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Kiss of the Vampire is Hammer horror as well. I was watching this just going like, I really want to do some Hammer horrors because I used to love the shit out of Hammer horrors when I was a kid.
Yeah, I'm up for doing
Dracula
that.
AD 72 is quite good. It's quite camp and kitsch.
Yeah, no, I've seen a couple. I'd definitely be up for doing an episode. But yeah, I think that would help.
He holds it in high regard though, Johnny Alucard. I think that's his Twitter handle.
Oh, is it?
Johnny Alucard.
What is that a reference to?
I think it's Dracula backwards.
Oh, is it? Oh, I see. But yeah, he has an encyclopedic knowledge of Hammer horror films. I think if you have that, maybe there's more to be found, because I thought this is a well-told story and it's enjoyable at a certain level, but if you're not interested in Polanski or Hammer horror films, I don't see there's any reason to watch it.
I mean, yeah. There's things clearly lifted in the narrative from those two Hammer horror films, and it evokes that in terms of look. It's like a lavish Hammer horror set, because they never had that much money at Hammer's disposal. And there's a lot of money. I mean, the sets were pretty damn good.
But it's so weird that the comedy is unusual in that
unusually bad.
Well, it's not presented as. Polanski has things like people falling over, but it just happens in the background. It's not. He can't direct comedy. I think possibly that's it. I mean, at that time, there's an argument that at that time Polanski was the best director. I mean, and his films of that period stand up better than anyone else, arguably. Knife in the Water, Cul-de-sac, Rosemary's Baby, Chinatown, Repulsion, and all that. So he had an amazing run. This is an outlier because I don't think it's bad. Well, do I? I was amazed at how well he can spin a yarn, Polanski, and I think
not a huge amount happens in it.
No, it doesn't, and there is a lull when they get to the castle. There's a 20-minute lull where absolutely nothing happens.
I don't think there's a lot. I mean, it really does take its time to get going. And the thing is, it's like, set the scene. You're in the inn. We're still in the inn. It's 25 minutes. We're still in the inn, and then we get an attack. We get a vampire attack in the bathroom, that was done kind of okay. I mean, it all looks good. It was just, I wasn't excited by this duo going to the castle. And also, I think the issue is that I never felt there was any sense of those guys being in trouble whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a weird film. The tone's weird. Everything about it's unusual, but
it's off kilter, but not in a good way.
No, and I don't know why it was a comedy. A guy falls over, a guy gets stuck in a house. Okay, but it's a peculiar film. I watched it in a kind of state of intrigued bemusement. I mean, if you're watching this today, women get particularly short shrift. Sharon Tate is enchanting, really, but she's in it for about 5 minutes and she plays a giggling schoolgirl. So, I mean, I don't think anyone would notice, least of all Polanski's character, if she was replaced by a pair of jugs on a stick or something. And the only other main female character is this scowling battle axe who rules over her husband with an iron fist. I mean, that archetype's amusing in itself, but then again, it's not. Again, it's something they could have made funny, but it's just there. This is fun, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, give me something more. Yeah. Pratfall.
Yeah.
What?
It is odd. There's a real coldness to it. Like not just the setting, but in terms of the execution of the jokes. It was just incidental. It's like stuff's happening,
and it's not actually presented as
a gag.
He's not filming it like comedy.
Not filming it like a reaction shot would be. There's no kind of reaction shots when stuff's happening, which would kind of give the audience the cue to go like, oh, that character's looking really awkward. That's happened to that other character.
Yeah,
that's quite funny. It was all kind of.
I don't think he can do comedy.
No,
I think that's the bottom line. I didn't think it was boring. I didn't think it was hard work. I thought it was a really well told story. But if Polanski hadn't wrote it, you'd be easy to assume that he did it for the money. But
I think take the visual aspects away from it, and the quirkiness of some of the characters was just watchable. I just found it was all very over the top and laboured as well. As one character, there's all of the claret goes all over them and everything, and he's falling down, and it's just like one. He's trying to get a laugh off this. Oh, he's getting really injured. I'm just going like, oh, fuck, come on, get on with it.
Yeah, really.
Get on with it. Yeah, I found it long, and I didn't enjoy it.
I like I said, I watched it in a kind of. I wasn't unentertained. I just don't know why it was made.
It just didn't work. It just didn't work. It just did not work. It didn't work as an art house horror comedy.
Okay, did you have any shit lookalikes?
No, I didn't.
Okay, earlier, this is tenuous, but early on, the turkey plucker at the very beginning, he looks like a cherubic Jason Fleming. I mean, it's slightly cherubic. But the other lookalike that I saw was the Hunchback.
Yeah.
I saw him and I was like, wow, that looks like Richard Tyson, who's an actor best known probably for playing Cullen Crisp in Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that is uncanny. And the more I watched it, I was like, it can't be him. He can't be him. He was like in his 30s when he made Kindergarten Cop. That he wouldn't have been born and would have been a teenager. Something like it's impossible. But I kept looking at him thinking this is uncanny. Yeah. So I looked him up, and he's actually a guy by the name of Terry Downs.
Yeah, he was quite an accomplished British boxer in the 60s, known as the Paddington Express.
Yeah, amazing. And he's one of the only people to beat Sugar Ray Robinson.
Yeah, I've got his biography in my bookshelf.
You're joking?
It's called My bleeding business.
All right. Really?
Yeah.
Did you spot him then?
Yeah, I recognised him, and then I looked at the credits.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was amazing. Because I fell into I was like up all night on Wikipedia, sort of falling into a bit of a rabbit hole. Yeah. Because I like what he said when he beat Sugar Ray. I think Sugar Ray Robinson was 41, and when he was asked, he said, "Oh, I didn't beat him. I beat his ghost," which is quite a classy thing to say to somebody when you've beaten a former legend. But yeah, that was a complete surprise to me, especially since I thought it was another actor who wasn't even born at the time, I think. Yeah, wasn't he? He was like the middleweight world boxing champion, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was tasty.
It was fucking weird.
Yeah. I think he did a couple of. He did a bit of TV and film.
That's right. Yeah,
that's not his only credit. He did a couple of bits.
Yeah, gangster TV shows that I saw. Yeah, odd. Not a film I'd recommend.
No.
Okay, all right. Well, in that case, let's move on to the second film, which is Nosferatu, aka Nosferatu the Vampire, from 1979, directed by Werner Herzog.
Monster!
Estate agent Jonathan Harker is sent to Count Dracula's castle in order to sell him a property before the vampire develops an obsession with Harker's wife and relocates to the couple's hometown, bringing swathes of plague-ridden rats along with him. Nosferatu, or Nosferatu the Vampire.
Monster!
At midnight, all sorts of evil spirits are set loose. People disappear without a trace.
Last night, after a tiresome journey, I finally reached my destination, the castle of Count Dracula.
Nosferatu, the Vampire. Coming from 20th Century Fox.
Okay, so Nosferatu, 1979. Herzog, had you seen this?
No.
Okay, you've heard of it, obviously?
Yes, have you seen it?
No, first time.
Okay, what do you think?
Polanski actually filmed this twice. He filmed it once in English, once in German. Same sets.
Herzog.
Yeah, what did I say?
Polanski.
Oh, sorry, yeah. He filmed it twice, so there's two versions of this film. Herzog reckons the definitive version is the German language one, which
subtitle.
Yeah, but it's harder to get. It's really hard to get hold of, even if you get the special edition Blu-ray. It's got the English language one. I was looking into how to try and find the German version, but the thing is, it's not just. He doesn't do the same shots with the actors performing the same lines. He moves the camera around, so they're two different versions of the film, which makes it really, really unusual. This just illustrates that this is
interesting.
Yeah, this is a film.
Is it the same runtime?
I don't think so. I think there's some scenes that are different. It's a different film, essentially, with the same script. It's shot differently, but yeah, this kind of illustrates that this is a film to be fascinated by. It starts off with a horrible, weird, unsettling scene.
The music was fucking great. It was it was teeth-itchingly unsettling.
Like what looked like
little mummified corpses.
Yeah, who looked like they'd been blowtorched or something. It was really, really brilliantly grim. I haven't seen too many of Werner Herzog's films. I think I've seen 5 or 6.
Oh, a couple.
Yeah, see, there's a box that I've got my eye on that I really want to get stuck into. But I always remember how aloof and amusing I find his visual style, even in serious films. The films that I've seen, he seems to have a sort of strange sense of humour. I mean, even serious stuff, like have you seen Rescue Dawn with Christian Bale?
No.
It's a serious movie, but I remember finding things that were quite amusing about it. And at the very beginning of this, Bruno Ganz, who I saw in the credits, and the whole film I was waiting to see him, and I was like, halfway through I was like, fuck, he's the fucking lead. I didn't recognise him. Completely different. At the beginning, he goes to Transylvania, and his wife, Isabella Gianni, says, let's spend some time together before you go. Let's go and do something we used to do, go and hang out by the sea, spend time by the sea. We used to love doing that. And then it cuts to them standing, freezing their tits off on the greyest day of the year on the beach. And I thought that was hilariously funny, because you picture them having a picnic, enjoying each other's company. And it's to set a very, very mournful and sombre tone perfectly. But I found that very funny. And then the next scene is of the couples saying their goodbyes, and half of the frame is just a horse's arse. And I just thought I don't know why I find this so funny. Herzog's films are just packed with personality like that. It's not. I mean, some people are going to think nothing of it. It's a horse's backside. So what? They're going standing in the beach. It's grim time. I found it very, very amusing and not distracting. His films have so much personality in them. It's like being in another universe, and especially in this film, I thought that worked wonders. There's also, scenes are very unnaturally lit as well, especially in this film. But I remember that being the case in some of his other films. He's not afraid to use shadows quite a lot. Obviously, this is a specific case.
I thought it was visually a really visually arresting film.
Yeah,
beautifully shot in the Carpathian Mountains. You've got these looming, beautiful landscapes that are dwarfing Jonathan Harker, and so I just found myself completely swept up.
Yeah, totally. There's actually an amazing shot. It's got to be about a minute long of these clouds sort of sailing over a cliff, and I was like, what's that? I was like, it looks like a bat coming over the.
This kind of sense of foreboding.
Yeah. It's brilliant. It's really
done. Done so well.
Yeah.
It's a very slow paced. Like character study, and it almost feels like a dream at times. I think Kinski is great as the almost translucent Count. He's like vulnerable, old, reeks of desperation and menace. I think it's just an amazingly measured, committed performance.
It's one of the. I can't remember the last time a performance walloped me like this.
I was just completely on edge whenever he was on screen.
Totally, and I felt kind of sickened by him, and I felt sorry for him, and I was just he is.
It's a wholly unique take on Count Dracula.
Yeah.
Also, there's certain little things as well that in other Dracula movies, other vampire movies, they over egg the strength of the vampire.
Yeah,
in so many countless films, they're throwing people across the room and all this kind of thing.
Disappearing and appearing and all that stuff.
And this is, it showed his strength in one sequence in quite a subtle way, in the way that he was moving the heavy earth-filled coffins with ease.
Oh yeah, that's
you just
right.
like duk, 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 shit. So I thought that was good. Dracula's superhuman strength was not showy. This is a film that's certainly not for all tastes, but especially ones who want shock, scares, and action, because there's little of that here. But I thought this was a great film.
Yeah.
I thought it was really well executed.
I thought it was one of the best films we've spoken about since we started doing this podcast. There's this really weird aura of purgatorial malaise about it, because nobody in the film is really alive. They're just kind of waiting to die in that city. And aside from the rats, and there's
the way
the
that's
horse,
done though, when people are just having their eating their
and they're
food.
just like they're waiting to die. Like there's no apart from the rats, and there's the horse at the beginning, and there's a couple of pigs later on. There's no birds. There's not really any light. It's like they're just waiting to be dead, and it's just a really beguiling, funny, nightmarish, totally unique film. I mean, the best way to illustrate how much I love this film, I had nightmares for 2 nights afterwards. Properly got to me. I thought it's an exquisite film. Amazing. Completely, could only have been... Even the stuff that I thought was Herzog's Bruno Ganz... shows Nosferatu the picture of his wife. He goes, "Oh, what a lovely throat," and I thought that's got to be his sense of humour, but that's from the original Nosferatu. So, which just shows their sensibilities.
Yeah, I mean, there is. I mean, the thing is that there is. It's interesting to note on the humour, because there's even an exchange where the guy refuses to give him his horses to go off.
That's right. Yeah.
But it's done in it's just a little bit off kilter, a little bit deadpan. It makes it that I kind of enjoyed. It's quite. I found it quite funny. It's so fucking harsh.
Yeah.
Someone give him a hand.
But it's such a sorrowful. It's such a miserable film that I think Herzog finds things in it to just be amused by.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a bit I really loved. The Count's take on the traditional cuckoo clock. The skull opens up with the Grim Reaper hammering a bell. Yeah. Wicked little touches like that. But I think he's all about minutiae. He's all about the detail. Herzog.
Did you see any Shoot Lookalikes?
No, I didn't see any Shoot Lookalikes.
I didn't either, but I did. I think it was quite striking at certain points how much Bruno Ganz looks like Javier Bardem.
Oh yeah.
Quite the resemblance is quite. There were some scenes I was like, whoa, they really look similar. Yeah. This is a stunning film. Like the Blu-ray is absolutely meticulous as well. I'd love to see the German original, because Herzog says that's his favourite version, and people say that there's a lot of differences.
Like
yeah. Hopefully it's not. It appears to be hard to get hold of, but I'm sure it isn't. Maybe I'll have to look into it. But yeah, this made me want to watch all of Herzog's stuff. So as soon as I have them wedged,
likewise. I came away from it just going, I need to see more of his stuff. Yeah. I've seen Grizzly Man.
Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans.
Yes.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah.
Loved it. I mean, that's one film I always keep pops up into my head every couple of years. I'm like, fuck, I need to rewatch that. Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
I mean, there's films that I've read about since I was a kid, like Fitzcarraldo. I want to see that. I want to watch him eating a shoe and all that stuff.
Well, if there's any Herzog fans out there listening to the show, please fire us some recommends.
Yeah, I mean, although I fully intend to watch everything he's ever done. This was an amazing film, truly. I recommend it to everybody. I think it's a fantastic film. Yeah. I would absolutely fucking love to see a print projected.
Yeah, hopefully one day. The cinema would be sick.
Yeah, hopefully that will happen.
I was just completely engrossed and wrapped up, and it left its mark way after the credits rolled. I was thinking about it for a long time afterwards.
It's a film to be fascinated by. So, well, which is better? Nosferatu the Vampire or The Fearless Vampire Killers? I think The Fearless Vampire Killers is an enjoyable film to a certain degree, and I think it's an interesting curio. Actually, no, it isn't. I think that's the point.
You're being very kind.
I'm very confused about how I feel about it. I had admiration for how it was made. I don't know why it was made. I don't know who considers it to be funny. I don't know who considers it to be scary. So it was lost to me, but I did have a certain admiration.
I found it was a colossal failure, but it was nice to look at.
Yeah. Well. Elle Driver, who suggested we do this episode, sent us an email about these two movies. So, first of all, here is what he said about The Fearless Vampire Killers. Since this is a comedy, my parents showed it to me at a very young age, and I have seen it several times since. I can confirm that it is, in fact, quite scary for a kid. The haunting music and the dirty servant with the limp cuckold are forever etched into my memories. It also sparked my fascination with vampires and their myth, because even as a weird comedy, it does set up a great Dracula character with all the tropes that go with it. The end is particularly memorable to me because it doesn't end with a happy ending, and my dad always added the punchline, and that's how evil spread across the world, or something like that. Thanks, Dad. Okay, and on Nosferatu, I saw this way later during my 20s, mostly out of fascination for Werner Herzog and the location being filmed in Delft in the Netherlands. I did watch it thinking, this is blatantly shot in Holland.
Oh, of course it was. I mean,
completely. So I assumed, but
I was talking about the mountains. No, I mean, as in when the canals.
I assumed it was going to have been shot in Germany, but obviously, no. I had seen the original Nosferatu silent movie before this, so this vampire character itself was not new to me. The haunting and bleak atmosphere of this type of vampire and the setting of the movie is truly well executed, no doubt. It made me feel uneasy, so I guess that's props. Exactly, it makes me feel it's a very uneasy film to watch. So props to the movie, although it made it harder to quote-unquote enjoy. The story and the acting for me were overshadowed by the setting. Klaus Kinski is an exception to this, who embodies Nosferatu with the warped mind and behaviour a character like that would probably have for real. Totally, I mean, it's properly one of those performances where...
It's a powerhouse performance.
Pin me to my seat. There are amazing stories about the making of this film, such as Werner Herzog wanted to release 10,000 or so rats into Delft, and this was blocked by the town. So Werner Herzog sought out a neighbouring town that didn't object, and they did it there. Also, he got exclusively white rats but wanted dark grey ones, so he decided to paint the rats via some bath that briefly boiled them. Please try and find out if these stories can be verified with actual facts. I'm just recounting this from the top of my head. I did look into those two stories. The IMDb says that the scene where there were supposed to be thousands of grey rats, real grey rats were unavailable, so therefore they had to have white ones painted grey. But I couldn't find any kind of evidence to support that. That's just on the IMDb. However, on Wikipedia, this was archived by a Glasgow University article about Herzog. Parts of the film were shot in Schiedam, next to Delft, or nearby to Delft, when they refused to allow the rats. So that's how they changed the shooting location. But yeah, thanks for the episode suggestion. I thought it was interesting. I'm so glad that I've seen Nosferatu now.
Do you think they put little kind of protective goggles on the rats when they spray them, so it doesn't go into their eyes?
You'd hope so. I mean... but yeah, I think this is the most whitewashiest of whitewashes.
Really, it's a cut and dry case. And I love the fact, one of those things that it was never really on my radar to watch Nosferatu.
I don't think I would have either.
No.
But this is now I need to go and seek out.
If you're listening and you haven't seen it, I mean, we are heaping praise on it, and it's really deserved. So if you haven't seen it, get on it.
Yeah, I didn't hate Fearless Vampire Killers. I just, like I said, I just sat perplexed, not unentertained, but kind of just confused about very much. It's not if you're not obsessed with Hammer horror films.
Go and watch some Hammer horror films. I would give it a wide berth because there's funnier Hammer horror films that are much more. They're just so much more warm than Fearless Vampire Killers. I found it cold and I found it a bit empty.
Well, yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, all right. Well, Nosferatu is the winner far and away. Go and find it on Blu-ray at the very least.
Yeah, it it bites out the jugular of fierce vampire killers and spits it on the floor.
Yeah, okay. Okay, right, well, thank you very much for listening. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with another episode. Check out our YouTube channel. All the episodes are on there. Cut to video, etc., etc. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Sure. Bless.